So now you've seen how fast the attack offense can get into ball screen action, how fast it can get into driving action, how fast it can get into away screen action. Can it do the same with cut action? Of course it can. And just like with all the other actions, we can flow seamlessly into our half-court offense with cut action. For this attack offense cut action video, I'm going to be specifically talking about cuts that score or attack the defense. I'm not going to be talking about cuts that get you open, like a V cut to get open, an L cut to get open. We're not going to be talking about those cuts, only cuts that attack the basket or attack the defense. And I'm also not going to be talking about if we would pass the ball and do a shallow cut. I'm not going to talk about shallow cuts either. I'm not a huge fan of shallow cuts. We will do them. We will interchange shallow cuts, almost the same thing. A lot of teams do shallow cuts. I'm not going to talk about shallow cuts because, again, the attack offense, the mindset is we always want to be attacking. So continue to run your offense. Just understand why I'm not going to talk about a shallow cut in this cut action video. The first teaching point that we like to teach is I always tell players when they pass the ball to go opposite where they pass the ball. So if this player passes it to the right, when they cut through, they're going to actually end up left, and that's kind of how the offense rotates from there. If they would pass it left, then they would go through and help the offense rotate that way. And when you keep things simple like that, pass and go opposite, it's going to help your floor spacing and it's going to help your floor balance. When you're teaching cutting, another thing that you want to do is teach face cuts. And so I do this a lot of times with youth players for sure, is when they pass the ball, teach them to step one way to get the defense going and cut across their face. Why? You want to be the player that's closer to the ball than the defense. If we don't face cut, then the defense can deny this pass the whole way through. Now, I'm not saying that you're not going to watch clips and see us not face cut. That's not what I'm saying. But you want to make it a teaching point so players understand why cutting across the face is so important when they make their cuts.
Dribble to left, pass over to McFadden.
Now, cuts against the man or a zone are a little bit different. When you cut against the man, you're looking to basket cut. You're looking to cut, put your head underneath the basket, and kind of read the situation. Now, we already know the way that we run our offense. When you throw it this way, you're going to end up out that way. But if you put your head underneath the basket, you might see this driver, and then all of a sudden, that's the person that they're looking for the dish. So that's why, good teaching point, put your head underneath the basket, read what's going on in the offense before you slide out to either corner. Kind of a slow cut here, but he does put his head underneath the basket, reads what's going on in the offense before he pops out, and he gets rewarded by getting an open gap to drive. Against the zone, instead of basket cutting, where a defender actually is, now you're cutting and you're sitting down and you're looking inside a gap. So sit down, or the ball went here, sit down in this gap. Now, once you don't get it after about a 1 count or a 2 count, now you go through opposite of where you made the pass. The next teaching point is we want to give our teammates a 1 second read time on the catch. So when we throw it, if we just take off, we might be getting in the way of a drive. So we're hoping when we pass and give a 1 second read time, again, it doesn't need to be, it could be 1 second, it could be half second, it could be whatever it is that you want it to be. You're just trying to get your whole team on the same page with timing. So when we make this pass, we want to give them a 1 second read time, because if they go to drive, now it could change what I do. They go this way, it could change what I do.
Darby with it, gets it across half court to Jarrell. Jarrell, pump fake, goes up with it and gets.
The only time we're not really concerned with the 1 second read time is we start the offense and we either see an initial cut through where we're open for a pass and a bucket. Or we're basically just getting our offense started, and that's fine too. Sometimes we might go really early and they might go right behind us. There's still a double gap. We can still fix that. And if you watch some of the other videos, you understand that even when we mess up, as long as we understand we can fix it, we can fix anything. Now, if you watched all the earlier videos, you know that we have the pocket up here and all the offense comes out of the pocket. And it doesn't matter if it's 5 out, 3 out, 4 out look. I'm just showing you out of the 4 out look. It's a little bit easier for me to show it out of the 4 out look. When we pass the ball in the pocket, from the pocket, we can't stay here. So we do have to do something in action. In this case, we're going to do cut action. So anytime that we cut from the pocket, it's okay. It could be a pass and we cut. It could be the ball might be here and we're coming down and we cut from this pocket and we already get rotation start off the bat. It doesn't really matter. Is if you're cutting down from the pocket, that can always be a good thing. I always tell players, when in doubt, cut. So they could be here, the ball's here, and they don't know what to do. Well, you know what? If you're in doubt, cut. Because if you cut and go through, now you're opening up gaps in the defense. You're causing your offense to start to move. So again, when you're in the pocket and you might be confused, do I cut, do I not cut? When in doubt, always cut. You can never mess us up. We can always fix things with it. Watch as our player doesn't really know what to do here, kind of just strolls through the offense, but because they cut, it does open up gaps, forces help. We get a wide open draw and kick off of it. Same thing here, doesn't really know what to do, but because they cut, they open up gaps in the defense and they're rewarded with the shot themselves. And you'll see we can even make really dumb cuts where we take away some offense, but we can still fix it. Like here, why are we going to cut across the baseline here? You know, I'm not a big fan of just cutting across the baseline for no reason. But we end up fixing it because he finds a hole in the zone. He ends up getting rewarded with the shot. And then here we have 2 people going along the baseline for no apparent reason. And we still end up getting the proper spacing, get one more pass, and a wide open 3. I already mentioned this one earlier, against the man-to-man. Look at a basket cut. A basket cut is simply we cut to the basket. A basket cut could simply come from the pocket also. Let's say the ball starts here, and again, confused, don't know what to do. Basket cut coming down from the pocket. And a really effective basket cut is actually ball comes down and we're on the trail and we cut down from the pocket on a basket cut. That's really effective. I also talked about the zone cut. So zone cut is we're cutting into openings and then we're sitting and looking for the ball. If you watch the NFL, you know the difference between when a receiver's running a route against a man or a zone. Against man, they'll run right through things. Against zone, they'll sit down, they'll show their target, they'll sit down in that gap and that hole in the zone. That's what we do in basketball too. We sit down in that hole in the zone, show our target, hopefully that our teammates see us inside that zone. There's also a back cut. Now for us, there's like 5 different back cuts or examples of back cuts that you can do. One is old fashioned. They're overplaying the pass. We're going backdoor. And a lot of times, if teams figure out that our offense comes from pocket down, they'll start trying to overplay this reversal, and that's fine. That's great. You overplay us, you're creating space because now you're coming out to overplay us. You create space for the backdoor there. So whenever teams overplay our pocket, that's great for us because now we can go backdoor on you. Here they'll take away our first attempt at a reversal. That's all right. We'll hit them with the second one. We talked about this a little bit in the drive action. Whenever a teammate dribbles at us, same thing. We're looking to go backdoor. We dribble at us. They're overplaying us, looking for that dribble handoff action. Backdoor.
Mancini with the ball. Feeds it inside to Rocco, and he gets the bucket.
Anytime a player or defender turns their head on you, that's another opportunity to go backdoor. Like, you know from earlier videos that we don't cut. If the ball's here, we don't just simply cut there because normally the defense is where they're supposed to be. But if they're playing up and their head's turned, they have no idea where you are, absolutely you can go backdoor and look for that. That's just good basketball, and we want to play good basketball. If you watched our drive video, you know when we drive, I really want these players staying looking for their shot. However, if a defender, again, turns their head on you and you can go with that 45 cut in, absolutely. As they look to the ball and you can cut in, and we can see that together, absolutely take advantage of that 45 cut. Now for us, if you watch the other videos, you know that I have a term for any kind of double, whether it's a stagger for a screen or a double for a double ball screen, those kind of things. We have a version of that for the cut action too. I call it a slice. One syllable, one word, really easy for someone not so bright like myself to handle. So a slice is a double cut. Notice the first player, here comes the second cut, and watch how it opens up gaps for driving. And we'll utilize that slice action if the read shows it, or if we're playing a lot of teams that play pack line defense, we run a lot of doubles on, whether that's double screens or double cuts. That opens up bigger gaps in their defense. And that also goes against the zone. We can run slice against the man or the zone. Cut action has a lot of ways it can help your offense be more efficient. Let's look at some of those ways. So you can simply cut to post, and we'll actually talk about that a lot of times on scouting reports. If we feel like we have some matchups that we really like, especially on the guard side of things, we'll talk about in this game, when you cut, don't just basket cut, cut to post. can also cut the screen. Could be any screen, could be a cross screen, a back screen, a pin screen. Obviously, the way that we do things where you pass and go opposite, you're going to become the hammer a lot, so you can cut the hammer. And not only can you cut the hammer, if you remember the video from the drive action, you can also cut from the hammer. Looking for the layup there. We could also cut off the post. Now, I'm not a huge fan of doing this. When we throw the ball down on the post, I'm a big fan of letting post players go one-on-one. I've had half of my players of the year have been post players, so I'm big on letting them go to work, do their thing, giving them space to do their thing. And I also don't like movement here, which you would know from the drive action, because if somebody sends a double at them, I want our players shot ready. It's the easiest thing in rhythm to shoot is when the ball comes straight back at you and you're ready to shoot the basketball. And I know a lot of coaches will teach split catch and other things. I just would rather have our players shot ready to shoot a shot in rhythm. However, we do teach a banana cut off of this. Not a straight cut where we're taking our defender right at our post teammate. We're trying to banana cut, the shape of a banana. Some people call it a Laker cut. I called it a banana cut. Maybe some people call it other things. I don't know. But we called it a banana cut because it was shaped like a banana. So that way, if the defender leaves, it gives us space to see that pass, to make that pass to our teammate for a bucket. One of the easiest and simplest things that cut action does is when you pass it and cut, it creates a gap, a driving gap in the defense.
Conley couldn't get a clean handle on it. Dishes it to Thomas. Thomas will drive. He'll go up strong. He'll get the bucket.
Along those same lines, when you create that gap, you also create space for shooters. And then if you remember from the drive action video, anytime we get caught in the triangle, picking up our dribble, there's drop action. And drop action is a great time for backdoors off of drop action. Cut action can also be used to create other offense. So the cut action could start it, and then it could turn into a different type of action. Or cut action is simple enough that after doing the cut action, it can be layered into other actions in the offense. And for the last video, I'm going to show you all these cuts. There's a L cut or a shallow cut. There's a basket cut. Now we got a slice cut coming up with two guys going through. All that great cut action leads to a wide open shot. So hopefully you can see how simple and effective cut action can be in the attack offense. And again, our mindset is we want to be attacking with everything we do. So even in the cut action, we want to stay on the attack. Hopefully you saw something in here that you can steal for your own offense, help you teach your players, something that can help your program in some way, shape, or form. If you like what you saw here, give us a thumbs up, a like, subscribe to us so you get all our updates. So now we've gone over ball screen action, drive action, away screen action, and now cut action. And next, I'm going to show you how the attack offense works with baseline and sideline out of bounds. So until then, keep attacking.